How you doing? Dr. Anthony Caliendo here, live again. Okay, so I'm titling this, Who is Smarter, You, Bacteria, or You? Who's smarter, bacteria, or you? Now, what does that mean? Okay, so whenever we speak about smarter, it doesn't always mean, like we think about intelligence and you know, who's smarter than the other person. We think about the brain, right? But bacteria don't have brain, so how could they possibly be smarter than people, right? You might be thinking about this, but I like to go into the newspaper, into the current events. This was from last month, April. Here's the headline: CDC warns of drug-resistant bacteria spread. Now, drug-resistant bacteria spread. Deadly, quote-unquote, nightmare bacteria that are resistant to most antibiotics were identified in 221 instances nationwide last year in an intensive surveillance program aimed at stopping superbugs before they spread, federal officials said Tuesday. Now, oh my gosh, now bacteria spreading, super nightmare bacteria, it goes on to say the bacteria have developed unique genetic mechanisms that allow them to repel multiple families of antibiotics. State officials found evidence of unique mutations in nightmare strains. Now, how does a bacteria develop unique genetic mechanisms that allow them to repel antibiotics? Developing implies intelligence, or they decided, or they figured out a way to become antibiotic resistant. Now that's, I don't know about you, but that's pretty smart. That's intelligent. And that's a bacteria. The World Health Organization has declared resistance to antibiotics an explosive global threat. So now these bacteria that are figured out a way to adapt. See, the word here is adapt, adaptation. They figured out a way to adapt to an environment, hospital environment, which is very sterile. I mean, precautions are taken in hospitals like nowhere else to prevent this type of thing. But these bacteria figured out a way, they are intelligent enough to be able to adapt so that the antibiotics don't work anymore. Interesting. They might be smarter than us. Many people who are infected with such strains are, quote unquote, virtually untreatable with modern medicine, end quote. They're virtually untreatable. Why is that? Because modern medicine is about giving the antibiotic to fix it, but they're not responding to the antibiotics anymore because they figured out a way and adapted. And then the last piece here is, experts noted Tuesday, this is the best, that while the sickest patients are the most vulnerable, healthy people can be carriers of these superbugs. Now, if the bacteria are causing the sickness, how do healthy people have it on them? Well, obviously, they're healthy for a reason. It goes back to the question, why do some people get sick and why some people don't? Right? Well, with all that said, it has to do with adaptation. And the answer is, a bacteria, we have 70 trillion cells in our bodies, and guess what? We adapt too. That's what health is. That's the definition of health. The healthy people who are carrying the superbugs but aren't getting sick are better adapters than those people who are sick and are getting sick from it. Now, why am I standing in a garden in the backyard of my office? Because we planted a community garden here last week with some excellent practice members. Thank you. I should shout out, but I'll never remember everybody. Bonnie was there. Anyway, we were all there, and we have all kinds of vegetables, tomatoes, cucumbers, and everything you need. Now, here's the question. These plants, come September, we're going to have a thriving garden, right? There's no question. But it needs certain things. Now, why would a garden thrive? Why does a plant even grow? Well, guess what? Living things have something that dead things don't have. Bacteria is a living thing. It has something. A plant in a room will do what? Grow toward the light. A tree in the desert, the roots will always grow where? Toward the water. They don't go looking for the water. They know exactly where the water is. Living things have something that dead things don't have. And it's an intelligence, like we said before. It's a figuring out. It's an adaptation. The intelligence isn't from the brain, though. It's an innate or inborn intelligence, a life force that living things have. These plants are alive, and they will adapt and they will grow. But guess what else? They need certain environmental conditions, right? One of them being light. Now, if you notice, there's a big old tree over here blocking the sun from our garden. Now, we knew this going in. We're not that stupid. We knew we needed to get these trees trimmed, but I want to make a point. Now, watch this. Now, these plants, they don't need any help in growing. They just need no interference, and they need certain conditions. One of the conditions is they need light to come through. Now, we're going to get men. They came already, and there's probably this week sometime going to come and trim the branches, because the branches are an interference between the sun's light and the plants. Our bodies also have that, and once the plant has the light and the intelligence, they'll grow. Our body also has an intelligence to adapt, like those people who are the carriers and aren't getting sick. The reason some are healthier than others is because their light is shining brighter inside of them, meaning our innate intelligence, our intelligence inside of our body that helps us adapt, runs through our nervous system. Now, your nervous system can have branches in front of it. I'm using the analogy here. It could have branches preventing that light, that intelligence from running through it. So what we do, I'm like the arborist who cuts the branches and allows the light to come through so the garden can thrive and not get sick. That's what we do. Now, we see people, we assess them, we assess how much light's coming through, how much isn't, because we have a good way of determining how adaptable they are to life experience, right? To stresses. And this all ties in. A week from Wednesday, we're doing a dinner, a community dinner. I tied it right in. See, we're gonna have a community dinner, and we're gonna tie this stuff in with longevity and aging gracefully. See, we want to know why some people age more gracefully than others. See, the truth is people are living longer, right? So living longer doesn't always mean